Radio TT365, the best biking station in the world.
So, two of my three guests have arrived in the form of John Newton and Mike Hammonds. Morning to you both.
Morning, Charlie.
You're looking about, reasonably fresh and breezy for this time in the morning. Do you ever struggle getting out of bed, or are you an early riser, Mike?
I'm normally up early. Yeah. I never lie in.
No, do you? No, no. And what about you, John?
Well, I have to thank Yvonne this morning, who I nipped downstairs when I first heard any sounds and said, "I'm sorry, I'll have to miss breakfast." She says, no, you've got to have a bacon sandwich and a cup of tea before you go out. So I'm better than I might have been.
You're suitably refreshed then. Oh, well done. Talking of cups of tea, I don't know what happened to mine, but I'll get mine in a minute, no doubt. John, there's something. I've already been giving you the big build-up as being a press officer for the Formula Sidecar Racing Association, and what you don't know about what's going on in sidecars isn't worth knowing, and all that information is very kindly passed on to us as commentators. A pity for the sidecar boys last night. No practice. I mean, they can't be very happy about that.
No, I mean, you can pretty much reckon you're going to miss a night each year, sort of thing. But after Saturday and Monday, and then we sort of half lost a lap in effect on Tuesday with the red flag. So after Monday, we're looking at, everybody's doing well. They're getting good times in. There's a few people who have breakdowns, but there's no problem. There's 4 days left, and then Tuesday gets red flagged. Wednesday gets fogged off. Today we might get out, hopefully, if that weather forecast is right, but it's not going to be perhaps dry conditions or perfectly dry. And so some of the teams have got a panic on now. Yeah. We've got 2/3 qualified, and there's a dozen or so are going to be hoping that today dries up a bit and tomorrow is good. So But it happens. You expect it one day a year.
Year on year, it no matter with the. I mean, who'd have thought it? When we were out on Saturday, when we were out on Monday, on Tuesday, the weather was so fantastic. I'm particularly difficult for the Birchells because the whole team, not just the brothers, but the whole team must have worked very hard to get that outfit sorted out and get it back on the start line last night, and only to be turned away. And it was a sad sight actually to see all the sidecars turning around and being pushed silently out of the pit lane and back down into the paddock.
But I mean, at least Ben and Tom were out a couple of nights back and got, I think it was 102, it's 108 miles an hour in. So, I mean, they're of a calibre where it doesn't take them long. They're fit young lads. It says, unfortunately, about the third fairly major sort of crash they've had over the last 3 years, not here, but in the World Championships. They had a terrible one in Croatia 2 years ago in practice, and Ben went down the track, with the outfit on top of him and had to get skin grafts eventually. Went out in the first race that weekend, a few hours later. I think they were about 11th, but the next day he came third in a World Championship race. Last year they had a training crash in France. He's back within a few days, and there we are, crashed on Monday and due to go out on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So they're tough. And yes, it was unfortunate, but they've got the backup there, and the outfit was, as you say, red. Because I'm told by Andy Farragher that what came back in the van wasn't exactly one, but superb-looking sidecar. But he's got a good backup team, and there's Klaus on hand, and Adolf Hanny is now on the island, so there's a lot of support there.
Yeah, the story about the guy, the Hell's Angel, that had his swinging arm off his Harley or something fixed, and he came back to pick it up and said, "Right, give us a song." And this is in the paddock, of course, and he said, "I don't know any songs." And so then the shout all around the paddock, "Song!" Of course, then now all of a sudden there's a lot of people gather round because they know they're in for some entertainment. And this Hell's Angel, suitably attired in Hell's Angel's gear, the only song he knew was Barbara Blanchie, and that's what he had to sing to get his part back, And he thought Des was joking. He said, "No, I'm not joking." I said, "I'm not going to charge you any money, but you've got to sing a song," and he got it back. But the other story I like in there was about Franco
Martinelli.
Yeah, who came over from Italy and befriended Des, and they were very, very good friends eventually. Italian sidecar driver. And he broke down in the first sidecar and went back home, and then on his way home tuned into the radio and realised there was another sidecar race and didn't even know about it. Amazing stuff, but they're the sort of tales that
it's so strange that sort of every generation has sort of a golden period. I mean, I was watching the sidecars in those days, but didn't get to know these people. And like Mike says, I mean, that was a brilliant hour and a half we had down there last year, and I'd never met Chris before, and I knew the names, but I think Chris in his article certainly does capture a feeling that you sometimes think nowadays isn't there. That there's a lot of pressure on people, and there's qualifying seems to be a big issue each year for a number of the chairs.
Yeah, sure.
It seems when you listen to these people, it wasn't like that 30 years ago, that they would somehow get through and didn't worry whether they actually did or not.
I think characters like the Founds, especially Des, they just would make it appear like that, even if it was, as critical. We're going to take a break. Back in a minute.
12 adrenaline.
Let's talk about newcomers, Mike, because one or two newcomers have particularly impressed you this year, and also riders that maybe aren't newcomers but have impressed you anyway.
Well, people who are sort of just 2 years into the TT, so people like Simon Andrews has been, I think, he's been very impressive, because he missed last year. He was there the year before, and he's done 127 yesterday. So I think he's been particularly good. And James Hillier, who's probably 2 or 3 years into the TT now, person we've done an article on in the past in the magazine, he's up to 127.8 miles an hour. So I think they're particularly been particularly special. But in the 600 class, William Dunlop's been very, very impressive, particularly as he's got that bad ankle. And also Ivan Linton, who's about 8th fastest at 119.4. And Ivan's a person we've been following his career in the magazine, where we've had about 5 or 6 issues where we've followed Ivan's career. Last year he won in Dan Balaun at the post-TT races. He's had fantastic results at Scarborough, and Ivan's really, really coming on.
Yeah.
Manx Radio TT 365, the best biking station in the world.